Hey, it's JJVirgin, and welcome to the JJVirgin Lifestyle Show, where I talk nutrition, exercise, and mindset with some of the coolest people in the world, and I give you tips that you can put into fast action to up-level your health so that you can go out there and live that big life you're meant to live. Now, today's show is all about new medicine, and that actually means something special. New's an acronym, so you're going to have to stay tuned to find out what it is. And it is with a longtime buddy, gosh, over a decade now, Dr. Elson Haas. You've probably heard of him. I always used to think of him as the Detox doc because one of the 11 books he wrote was the Detox Diet. Some of the other books he's written, Staying Healthy with Nutrition, Staying Healthy with the Seasons. That's kind of just it's a classic. The False Fat Diet, Ultimate Immunity, and now he's got the new medicine, Staying Healthy with New Medicine. So I still remember going to his office. Gosh, it was probably 8 years ago, and he had a big physician's desk reference as what was keeping his door open. It was pretty funny. He is an integrative physician. He is a pioneer of integrative medicine, and he has a super cool clinic, a family practice in Marin County, and has just been everywhere for a long time. Has been one of my mentors and friends. And I'm super excited to share Dr. Elson Haas with you today. All right, so let's do it. Dr. Elson Haas, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here with me today.
Great to be here, JJ.
Yeah, especially with this subject, because you've been around for a long time. I was going to say forever, but that wouldn't sound so nice. It just seems like I've known you for a long time, and then I knew of your work for a long time as really the detox doc, and now You're coming out here with this concept of new medicine, and what the heck is that, Elson?
Well, my new book, Staying Healthy with New Medicine, NEW, is the new is an acronym. Besides being really what's the cutting edge and really how we should be practicing, the NEW stands for Natural, Eastern, and Western. And it really goes back to 35 years ago, my first book, Staying Healthy with the Seasons, came out, which is after I studied, in the 70s, nutrition and exercise, physiology and mind, body and herbs and all that stuff. And I said, as a young doctor, I said, this is really important stuff and helpful. It really helped me with my health. So I felt that this should really be part of medicine. So my whole career, 40 plus years as a family doctor, has been to bring these modalities into healthcare.
What is really what's the big punch of this book? What are the big messages here?
This is the beginning part of a much larger book I've been working on. This is an integration of all of my studies and all the healing systems I've studied and the philosophy and my approach in healthcare. It really looks at getting to the core issues, the causes of disease, the keys to staying healthy and all that. So it really is, to me, a high level philosophy and a practical approach to staying healthy, which has been my motto and my goal since I began.
And so I have to go into this because, you want to stay healthy and never get down into disease, but then you have a chapter on the real causes of disease. So what's your idea with that?
Well, it's there's a one-page chart that also goes into the whole chapter, and you and I know this from our interactions over the years, but to me, the cell is at the center of all issues, and the deficiency, not getting all the nutrients our cells need to do the thousands of functions they do every day, and toxins, the metals and chemicals that get in our air, food, water, hair products, skin products that interfere with enzymes and proper cell function. When we help people change that and make sure they get all the nutrients and lessen the toxins, voila, a lot of things start getting better. A lot of the physical ailments that people have start to improve. And I see that in practice, and I really believe that's kind of the core. Of course, we have, the lifestyle aspects, which are also to me, primary issues, our nutrition, our stress, our exercise and all that. So there's layers, but what I would say is that most of the things that doctors treat and name, which is the way outside of the circle, is like fourth level. Those are the outcomes of the improper physiology, of the improper functioning in the body. And we, as a typical physicians would treat from the outside in, where when we really start working with healthcare, we start to heal and address it from the core, from the inside out.
Well, and when you talk about staying healthy, and I think you kind of just alluded, you threw some of the keys, because you say you have 5 keys to staying healthy, and I feel like you kind of started to throw some of those out there. So what are your 5 keys?
Well, nutrition is number one, kind of the building block for health. And basically, I tell people eat wholesome food, avoid junk and chemicals. And everybody's got different, varieties of that. Fitness, and this is your area too, is like really working on the core, being flexible and stretching, and the whole balance exercise program. Getting proper sleep, and that's really to me a core aspect. When people don't sleep, they're fatigued. They start using stimulants to kind of function through the day. So sleep is there. Managing stress and learning how to both get along with everybody and not get along in a way that doesn't stress you out. And the 5th key is what I call attitude, and that's like our whole approach to ourselves and life. And when we a lot of times as a family doc, I'm just really getting in a first visit with people. What's the core? What's your real attitude toward life and your health? When I did my first cleanse back 40 years ago, I started to feel so much different, so much better. My allergies went away. I lost weight. I felt better. I said, wow, this is what I want to feel. This is how I want to feel. I want to, I get to love my body now. I have to take care of this body. I want to honor what my body tells me to do. And if I can get people to that place, and I work with myself with that all the time, it really alters all the other things. You start to eat better. You're willing to exercise, even if you don't like certain things. You learned how to handle stress. You make sure you get proper sleep. These other things start to play out in a different way. So, really shifting attitude is important.
I love this, and you don't know this, but my next book that's coming out in February, Miracle Mindset, is all about kind of this mindset or attitude that sits on top of everything. And really, whether it's your health or your finances or your career or your relationships, without the right mindset, the attitude, it's not happening. So
that's everything. And, everything. It comes back. It starts with love, with loving yourself and just accepting who you are. It doesn't mean you can't be better, because we can all be better. But we start with where we are. And that's my message. When I speak to other practitioners and, nutrition students or whomever, I said the art of being a good practitioner is to tune into who somebody is and where they're at and help them take the next steps. I mean, we could have these ideal, lofty programs that, of fitness, but you got to start with where people are, and they're also their limitations and their expectations. So really working with the mindset is really right there.
What's interesting is we did a query of our community last year, and it was incredible to me, because I wouldn't have realized this. The number one reason people didn't get started on a program was because they didn't feel worthy. It's like, wow. So the fact that you're teaching this to physicians is huge, because again, if you've got that block, nothing's getting past that. So.
Well, when I first started, really being in medicine, I realized that the highest art of being a physician, I got this from, Chinese medicine and the philosophy of the ancients, was, that you really help people attune to the seasons, the cycles of life, and, acknowledge and accept their body, and just really, it starts with love, it starts with really caring, and rather than the self-destructive behavior that many people, acknowledge and experience.
And you just mentioned the seasons, and it's just not a concept. It seems obvious. It's like eat with the seasons, eat locally. Your life changes a little with the seasons. You sleep more in the winter, but people, it's never really been talked about. That was like one of those groundbreaking things that you brought out. What are some key takeaways there that you can give people?
I think that the simplest idea is obviously grow your own garden and go to farmers markets, so you see what's around now, and that's what you kind of focus on. But part of the issue, and it varies a little bit depending if you live in a cold or warmer climate, but it has to do with the light and dark cycles. To me, it means eating, if in the cold weather you eat things that warm your body, and in hot weather you eat things that cool your body. And it also depends on your own nature. Some, like a lot of women are cold a lot, so they have to eat more warming things and more fuel. And if you're a hot person, you can get away with eating more fruit. So, and it also has to do with not just that, but it's the emotions and the climates and just kind of adapting to that. And, it's kind of tuning in and doing a little bit of self-reflection. And that's what Staying Healthy with the Seasons really does. That, New Medicine book really kind of continues in this integration of natural and West and Chinese medicine, as well as all the Western medicine approaches. Really, that we need to be a prevention oriented, and also it doesn't mean we can't use Western medicine. But that's, to me, and my motto in my preventive medical center clinic is, lifestyle first, natural therapies next, drugs last. But a lot of people like to start with drugs.
I was going to say, yeah, we've kind of got that one flipped the wrong way.
Yeah, but then you gotta shift them and see if to move. One of my favorite charts in New Medicine book is what I call the disease health continuum. Everybody's got kind of a set point. Their kind of way that they're used to existing, and most doctors' office, just as soon as you start to get symptoms, you get treated with a medicine. You get a disease name, you get something. Sometimes you're on it for life. That's what the doctors. So they create chronic patients using drugs. Whereas if you start really working on your lifestyle and health, you start to move up this, what I call the health continuum, which is, better fitness, vitality, creative energy, doing good things in the world, and all these things. And that's really, when you move up that way, you just don't get sick very often. And it really makes a difference in how people are. And I've been watching this for 40 years in practice. So that's where I'm really excited. New Medicine is, I think, some of my best writing. I have 11 books out, and I think it really is a culmination of all these different, philosophies all put together. I mean, that's really what my work and my writing has been, as an integrator, taking different systems and kind of making sense out of them for the everyday person.
Now, I can't let you off the hook here. We can't end an interview without me asking about Detox, because that's how I've always thought of you. I think that was my first introduction to you. So what about Detox? Where does it fit into all of this?
Well, to me, it's a beginning level. I mean, talk about elimination diets. I have in my Detox diet book. I mean, the reason you know that is because I probably was one of the first people to write the Detox diet in '92. I think that came out. And I've, have a couple different versions, but it has what I call the SNACCs. Another acronym, SNACC, stands for sugar, nicotine, alcohol, caffeine, and chemicals. So when I see somebody, or I work with groups to do the detox, and you and I did the detox experience one time for practitioners, because the group experience is phenomenal, a way to get people really doing it, because a lot of people feel the support and the connection. But to me, the first level for all of us to look at, if you don't feel well, how we look and feel is a result primarily of how we live. When you don't feel well, you have to look at every aspect of your life and say, is this a contributor? Is that a contributor? So I get people, one of my first steps is, an elimination, where I get people off, the key five, like sugar, alcohol, caffeine, wheat, and dairy products. It's like, if we did that on a national level, people, half of people's symptoms would get better. They'd start to feel better. They'd drop weight. Their allergies would get less. Their skin would look better. All these different things would happen. We would save trillions of dollars in healthcare if we started moving people along this health continuum. And it does start with detox, But, people have to be aware too. It's not everybody needs detox. Some people are undernourished, weak, cold. They need to be nourished more. But you can still, that's one of the things I wrote about in the detox diet, is you can detoxify your body while you're getting really well nourished. You don't have to go, it's not necessary.
It's not a starvation water cleanse. Right. That's good to know. And it sounds like then staying healthy with New Medicine is really the best place. Like if someone's new to you, which I find hard to believe at this point, because you've been such a figurehead in our world for so long, but just in case they are, and even if you've already got things, this sounds like the ultimate compilation, digestion of your work, Staying Healthy with New Medicine. So where do people get it? Amazon, bookstores? Where's that?
Amazon. This is my first book I self-published.
Oh, wow.
And it's really the beginning part. It's all the basics of healthcare as part of my next component, which is, it's more like this is a couple 100-page book, but, I have another 400 or 500 pages that are getting ready, called New Medicine Solutions, which is taking this new medicine approach, natural, Eastern, and Western medicine, and applying that to general issues that Western medicine alone does not address well, like mood and energy disorders, fatigue, insomnia, depression, anxiety, hormones and aging, and digestive health, and weight, and diabetes and pre-diabetes. you know as well as I do that one of the greatest gifts of integrative medicine and a more proactive approach is that we can take these early chronic diseases that most doctors don't really undo and be able to either reverse them or delay them a great deal. And that's, high blood pressure, pre-diabetes and diabetes, high cholesterol and cardiovascular. And when people start to really work on their health and work on their lifestyle, they can start to undo these things and not really delay, even the need for medicine for years and years, if not totally avoid it.
Okay, so you need to grab this book, Staying Healthy with New Medicine. And Elson, best place for people to come check out if they want to get more from you, learn more about you, where should they go?
My website, Elson Haas, ElsonHaasMD.com.
Awesome. Yes, that's not the easiest name to spell. Okay, everybody, ElsonHaasMD.com, and make sure to add Staying Healthy with New Medicine to your success library. And after the break, I'm going to be answering a listener's question, so stick with me.
Want a better quality of sleep while also calming your brain? Now, there's a great tasting way to do it. JJVirgin's lemon-flavored sleep candy contains amino acids and nutrients to help you naturally fall asleep with ease. This gluten-free, non-GMO, dairy-free sleep assistant also helps you stay asleep, so you feel rejuvenated and more relaxed. So if you want to get a better night's sleep, visit www.jjvirgin.com/products and try JJ Sleep Candy.
Welcome back. This is the time where I answer a listener's question, and today's question is perfect for what we've been talking about. It comes from Jack in Reading, and he says, JJ, I've done a couple detoxes, doing juice cleanses, and they never make me feel good, neither during or after, but I hear that I need to detox, so what should I be doing? Okay. Man, this is one I could spend an hour on. I'm just warning you. Here's the deal. Juice cleanses, I am not a fan of because your body detoxifies in multiple phases. The first phase frees up the toxins. See, what happens is every day we're getting confronted by toxins in the air we breathe, and the water that's flowing by, and the chemicals that are being excreted, or we're actually touching or drinking or eating. And our body either eliminates them or stores them. And if we overwhelm our detoxification system, they're storing them, and they're basically storing them in our fat. So the first phase of detoxification is getting those babies out of the fat, getting them freed up. And the second phase is getting them out of your body through your urine, through your feces, through your sweat. So what you want to watch for is something that, if you've got something that makes your phase 1 faster and your phase 2 slower, you've got a problem, because you'll free up the toxins, but you won't get them out. And that's what things like juice cleanses do, because all of those vitamins and phytonutrients help ramp up phase 1, but then you don't have the protein that you need to pull those, to glom on to the toxins, because you need amino acids to escort the toxins out of the body. And so now you've got a problem. So juice cleanse, I'm not a fan of. And here's the thing. I like the idea of these focused cleanses because it's kind of a time where you focus on yourself and what you need to be doing, and you can go deeper. And if you're really going to detoxify, like heavy metals or something like this, you want to be doing this under the care of a physician. But I like the idea of when you do a focus, say 1 to 2 week cleanse, or even 3-week cleanse, where you pull out things like any types of things you're intolerant to, which you shouldn't be doing anyway. Lower your sugar impact, drop your alcohol or drop it down, lower your caffeine, although I don't believe in reducing or eliminating caffeine, because caffeine actually helps improve liver enzymes, can make liver enzymes better. So I don't believe in no coffee. I just don't believe in excess coffee. And you want to make sure you're going bulletproof there and not having the mycotoxins. But the deal is, we need to be detoxing on a daily basis because we're being hit by toxins on a daily basis. And so we want to keep them getting out. And so here are some of the things that help you. Number 1, sweating. That can be through an infrared sauna. I use my sunlight and sauna for that. It's awesome. So sweating is when you should be doing. Exercise is another obvious way to sweat, but you got to be sweating. And if you're one of those people that's not a good sweater, then you should be definitely. We should all have these saunas. Sunlighting is amazing. I love mine. And we should actually all have one of these in our house, and they're small so they can fit. But it's one of the most valuable things you can do for your health. But again, sweat, stimulate. So that's things like cardiovascular exercise, yoga, lymphatic drainage, massage, dry brushing with a brush. Everyone goes, what's dry brushing? It's a dry brush, and you brush yourself before you get in the shower or bath. Anything like that where you're getting blood flow going, super important. Lots of green vegetables, deep green leafies, increase your fiber. Fiber helps pull the toxins and get them out. So fiber, super important here. And then amino acids. So make sure not only are you eating good, clean protein, but you're also digesting it. So some digestive enzymes, some proteases can be super helpful here. And of course, lots of pure spring water to help you continue to get this out. So green plants in the house, filter your water and air. These are other important things. Obviously, it'll reduce your toxic load. Anything that could be coming in, control that as well. And then there's one more piece to this, and Elson talked about this, and it's funny because I interview a lot of people, obviously, as you know, but I haven't heard anyone mention this before. And he talked about attitude, and the other thing I'd say is detox your attitude, and that might mean detoxing the people around you. I talk about this when I was in the hospital with my son, and I realized I was going to have to communicate to some of my family members via Facebook. And that I couldn't talk to them every day because their fear, it was really my mother, her fear was not going to allow me to be courageous like I needed to be. I couldn't have that in my psyche. So, part of what you have to do is detox your attitude, elevate your mindset, go into the miracle mindset. And, in order to be successful at the rest of this. Super important. And again, something we don't think about very often. Now, if you'd like to submit a question for me, I love them. Just go to jjvirgin.com/ask, and you can leave a voicemail for me. I can't wait to hear from you. And one more way I would love to hear from you. I would so appreciate it if you could jump on Stitcher or iTunes and leave a review for me. It helps a bunch. And of course, be sure to subscribe and share the show with your friends. Okay, this is JJ Virgin signing off and reminding you that you are worthy. Live courageously.